Hello guys, today we're going to talk about Dog Day Afternoon. This movie was released in 1975. It's rated R. Very R. It's 2 hours and 5 minutes long, and it was released on DVD in 1997. It has an 8 out of 10 on IMDb with about 207,000-ish user votes, and it has 86 on Metacritic with 15 critics. It stars Al Pacino, who was in the Godfather movies among lots else, and John Cazale, which he wasn't in a lot of movies. He was in only. Here's the funny thing about him: he's only been in 4 movies, but all of them were nominated for Best Picture. It's funny. 2 of them were the Godfather films. One was Deer Hunter, and then this one. He died with I think he had cancer of some form, and he was only in those movies. The movie was directed by Sidney Lumet, who also did 12 Angry Men. It has a 95% on Rotten Tomatoes with 42 critics and 90% by audience with about 3,800-ish audience of user voters. The consensus on Rotten Tomatoes is that framed by great work from director Sidney Lumet and fueled by a gripping performance from Al Pacino, Dog Day Afternoon offers a finely detailed snapshot of people in crisis with tension-soaked drama shaded in black humor. And the movie isn't available for stream, but it is available to rent and buy on Vudu, iTunes, PlayStation Store, and Microsoft Store. Now, when did I watch this movie? I watched this movie quite a while ago. I watched it once, and I loved it. I think it's very... Most of the dark humor is more towards the beginning of the film. I know it's towards the end it got much more serious, but I may find other parts funnier if I rewatch it. It is a very good movie. Everyone's awesome in it. It's just a very gritty film. It's like 70s gritty at its finest. And acting is very well done. Cinematography is awesome. I remember the score being pretty good. I don't think there's a lot of music in the film. It's very real world-ish, but it sounds good. Screenplays, it's very good writing, a lot of complexity with at least the main characters, and it feels like a real story. It feels like you're watching it unfold in front of your eyes in real life. It's very well done in that aspect. And it's definitely rewatchable. And it is based on a true story. And yeah, it's very interesting. It's a very interesting movie. It has some funny moments. It has a lot of good dramatic moments. It has a lot of memorable moments. And Al Pacino is just awesome in this. Everyone else is great too, but this is an Al Pacino movie, and it's awesome. Yeah, there's not a lot for criticisms on it. It has a tone's very gritty, and it's just very, very, it is kind of dark. Not dark like in the way we're used to, but dark in the fact that it's pretty much about us rooting for someone who's breaking the law. And even though that's pretty common, it's kind of a relatively new thing. Now, not a new thing. There's been anti-heroes in cinema for a long time, but I mean, his motivations and what he's doing for those motivations, I mean, they're kind of a part of this cultural upheaval in the 70s. Because in the 70s, late 60s, early 70s, Hollywood was very much struggling getting movies in the theaters. And they were struggling getting people because television was becoming such a massive thing. So they end up turning towards independent filmmaking to get some of those films to meet the quota of films, and that gave a lot of filmmakers leeway to take chances in films because the movie companies didn't have much of a choice. That is how Scorsese got his big breaks, and this movie's one of them. I mean, it's a very indie movie. You can tell that it was just a crew just working with people in their surroundings. You can tell that they weren't really... It doesn't look like a very expensive film to make. And I mean that in a positive way. It looks like that they just said, you know, let's just make this real life. Let's not try to make it all fancy and shit. Let's just make this a straightforward movie. It's very straightforward, and it's very powerful, and it is very similar to 12 Angry Men in a lot of ways. I mean, 12 Angry Men is kind of its own film too, but in terms of its realistic style and its addressness of real-world issues and how people deal with it, it's very similar in that. And it does a great job of covering that, and I have to say it is a very good movie. And I don't think it's like... It's one of my favorites. I wouldn't say it's... I don't think it's in my top, just because there's been so many other great movies, and this one, it's great, but it's definitely... I would say a little bit of the product of its time. It's a very 70s movie, and while there's nothing like gaudy 70s about, like, ooh, the disco music or any of that, but it just has that cultural feel. Like, this wasn't, like, made for the 70s. This was made in... The 70s are in it. It's just kind of like one of those movies where the decade it took place in is just such a big part of what makes the movie good that it's hard to take that movie and compare it to stuff nowadays. And I could be wrong. Someone can watch it and feel completely differently. That's fine. It's just, I feel like that's probably one of the things that kind of holds the movie back. And, well, a lot of great movies came out in the 70s. The Godfather films, Apocalypse Now, to name a few. I mean, The Deer Hunter. I mean, there's just a lot of great films came out in the 70s. And it's kind of hard, and all movies are great, but some get remembered and some don't as much over time. And Deer Hunter got remembered, Dog Day Afternoon kind of got left behind. And it's just kind of a shame that happens sometimes, but sometimes so many great movies come that some stick over the time and some don't. And it can contribute to a lot of different things. But I think in the case of this one, I think the fact that it's based on a true story, I think, is what keeps it kind of behind there, because it's kind of hard to take that story and make it appeal. Like, for example, something like The Godfather can be, even though it takes place in the past, its subject matter can easily be adapted today. You can easily make The Godfather and update it for current times, and the movie would generally be the same. And I guess you could do that with Dog Day Afternoon if it was a fictional tale, but since it's based on a real story, you're going to have to take creative liberties, and then you're kind of violating the source material, and then that takes it in a different route than the other example. So, but yeah, that's all I have to say about that. It's a good movie. I recommend checking out. It is incredibly hard to find on DVD, as I learned the hard way, but who knows, things could have changed. I mean, if you find it on Amazon at a reasonable price, I recommend getting it. It's a pretty awesome movie. And if you're looking for a very over-the-top Al Pacino performance, this is one of his earlier ones of him doing it. His very early performances, he doesn't really do as much, especially the first Godfather movie. He's very restrained. It's not until, like, a little bit after that he starts to go batshit, which is at its finest when he's batshit, which I love. But yeah, that was that's Dog Day Afternoon. Please check it out. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and like the videos, and have a good day.